So, hello, this is John Thornley of the WebBizNetwork.com, and I'm really pleased to be hosting a seminar that I know you're going to be enjoying with one of the great speakers that we had at the special WebBiz Network workshop that we had earlier this week in London. But first of all, I'd like to welcome the co-founder of the WebBiz Network, Jason Cohen. Jason, hi.
Hi, John. How you doing? Hi, Andrew.
Hi, how you going?
Oh, fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. Editing some highlights from the Tuesday evening, which should be up on the WebBiz Network blog later in the week. So that should be really good. Some of the best bits from you.
That's great. So, thanks very much, Jason. We look forward to seeing those on the blog. Now, I'm really pleased to have with us Andrew Grant, who's a self-styled technophobe from Queensland, down under, who, with his wife Daryl, has made a fortune marketing digital information products online. In fact, in their first year online, they pulled in over $250,000. And then 3 years on, with more than 75 websites, and you're going to tell me there's more than that, I think, Darren, Andrew, and their turnover now is in excess of $1 million a year, I believe.
That's correct.
So, Andrew, hello and welcome from Paris.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. Hi, Jason there, and John. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm on my mobile here, so I'm hoping it will last the full length, but I've got a full battery and a full head, so we should be able to share a bit of information with you tonight.
That's great. And first of all, thank you for your presentation on Tuesday. We had some excellent feedback from that. So what I'd like to do this evening really is to put a couple of questions to you. Some of them will have come out of the responses to your presentation on Tuesday. Others we've had from people who ask general questions about this kind of business model. So if I can fire ahead, first of all, can you tell us, what are you passionate about? What lights your fire, Andrew?
What gets me going? Well, besides my wife, who apologises for not being here, she's had to get back to Australia a little earlier, so that's why I'm here by myself. So you've drawn the short straw because my wife is brilliant at all this stuff, but I'm going to do my best to help you out. As far as being passionate, though, what we're both passionate about and what really drives this is actually financial freedom. And what I mean by financial freedom is working because I want to work, not because I have to work. A little bit of background on that, I suppose. I used to work as a financial planner many years ago, and I've literally sat across the table from thousands of people and in one way or another and talked to them about their financial situations. And I was surprised to find that didn't really matter how much people were earning. They all seemed to be locked into this need to work, and what I noticed is that they were slaves to their jobs effectively. If they stopped working, they stopped earning. And so I had literally had millionaires sitting across the table from me going through their situation, and I would find that they would be living in some cases paycheck to paycheck. That was a bit of a concern. So I really decided back then I wanted to be financially independent, and that means making enough passive income to meet all my needs.
That's great. Well, that's a great passion to have, and indeed, I think Daryl, your wife, shares that with you. Oh,
definitely. That's our driving force. The way we, you've obviously guessed, but the way we beat that passion, I suppose, is via the internet. We've tried a number of things over the years, property shares, and forex trading, and a few other bits and pieces, and we tried to make all those things passive. What I mean by passive income, by the way, folks, is the income that you make is not connected directly to your hours that you put in. So, for example, if you go to a job, you generally have to go there 9 till 5. Don't turn up, you don't get paid, basically. So what we needed to do is make we needed to make passive income streams, which basically keep coming in whether or not I'm working or not. So consequently, today I've been running around Paris, looking at the sites, and I wouldn't say I was working, but I was making money. So that was a cool thing about the whole exercise.
That's great, and even if you are a dangerous man on your own in Paris.
Yeah, yes. Well,
there we go. So how did you actually get started, you and Daryl get started online?
Well, let me start by saying we're not computer experts by any shape or form. We actually consider ourselves as being technophobic. When we started, I could basically do an email. I could write a letter in a Word document, and I could kind of make my way around the internet a little bit. I could find some basic. And that was about the extent of my technical knowledge. And I was sitting in a mentoring program similar to what you guys have together as far as your the WebViz network there, and I was sitting in a group like that, and a chap got up in front of me one day, and he gave a 20-minute presentation on how he was marketing information products. Now, he used the term ebooks, and I use the term ebooks now as well. But ebooks is we use it in a generic term or a generic way, and it can be anything from audio to text to video to software. But it means anything that you can download. Now, we there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. So it means anything that you can download, and the information that we provided through the information that we provide basically meets a need or a concern that people have, and so we do that through information products. So this chap basically spent about 20 minutes showing us stepping us through what he did, and we just took down the steps, and there were some basic steps that we followed, and then we just basically started to jump on the internet and start to follow our nose, and that's how we got going. That we had nobody to show us how to do it, so it was when we first started. So we made some mistakes and went up some blind alleys, but I think the thing that I suppose that I'm most proud of that Darryl and I didn't quit. We had a few dead ends there, and we didn't quit. We kept going, and we it started to work for us, and we were very excited about that.
Great. I'll ask you a bit more about the blind alleys and mistakes a bit later on, but I think there's 2 points in there which are vital, and one is you're saying it's a simple model and follow a simple model, don't make it complicated, and the other I think you're saying is you kept going through it all.
Yes, that's right. If it was complicated, John, I wouldn't have done it because I just didn't have the skill level for a start, and I just needed to have a basic, simple thing to do and follow. And what I found is once I started making a few dollars, then I've now gone on to doing more advanced strategies and so on. So this is we're getting into our 4th year being online now, and the first strategies that we started with that I learned in that 20-minute talk was you there? I'm having real trouble hearing you there.
Yeah. If anybody who is not speaking, in other words, at the moment just myself and Andrew, if you could please press 3 to mute yourself. Thanks very much. Sorry, Andrew, carry on.
All right, sorry about that. I was just having trouble hearing. So what I was saying is we've since gone on to implement a number of other strategies, but the strategy that we learned right from the start, when we didn't know much, marketing information products and basically ebooks, we still use to this very day, and it still goes fine, and it's actually doing better than it ever has for us. So we're pretty pleased.
So there's another point there. Everybody says, it's the market's. Is there a market out there for ebooks in today's world? And I think you're saying yes, there is.
Oh well, definitely. It makes as much sense to say that there's no market for ebooks out there as it does to say there's no market for books. You see Borders bookstore closing down tomorrow because all the books that are ever going to be written are written, or nobody's going to buy any more books.
Yeah.
It's just a ridiculous argument, and the reason that it doesn't stand up for what we do is because our system is all about meeting a need, or meeting a want, I should say, a want in the marketplace. And before we actually even think about building a product or an ebook of some sort, what we do is we put a lot of time into actually working out what it is that the client wants or the marketplace wants. We have a couple of methods that we use, that we go out to the marketplace and we actually ask them, and they feed back to us exactly what it is in the niche market that they're after, and that really gives us a competitive advantage, because when we go to the market with our product, the product just basically reflects what it is that they're hungry for or what they're really wanting. And then it's not hard work to try and sell. The biggest mistake I see most people make in this industry is that they have a great idea. They have a hobby horse, or they have something they want to push, and they have this product and they go out and they try and build that product, or they've built it already, and then they take it to the marketplace and say, hey, buy this. Well, the marketplace doesn't care what you want or what you like. They're all about themselves. And so ask them, first and foremost, always ask your market what it is they want, and just give it to them.
And you've got some specific ways of doing that, which I think you're willing to share with us, but probably is a little bit not enough time just to go through all of that. But I think you're going to be giving us a reference later on as to where people can go and look at. I think it's your six-step approach to this, isn't it?
Yeah, look, we have 6 steps that we use, and I could take you all through it in detail today, but I wouldn't do it justice to the time that we have. And we have a link that you can go and have a look at. Now, I've given you guys the link there, John. What link did we end up with there for that? That was.
I'll give the link a little bit later. I think let's just keep on talking for the moment.
Okay, no problems.
But suffice it to say, if you follow the link, you'll pick up on your 6-step process.
Yeah, a whole step-by-step process is there. And
a whole lot of information on contacts and tools and how you can do it and how you should be doing each step. That's a brilliant help. If we move on, how did you manage to strike it rich so quickly when other people seem to struggle? What's the magic ingredient in there, Andrew?
Well, folks, I hate to disappoint you here, but there's the term "strike it rich" and magic is probably not included in my story. It was a combination of just applying a formula. It's a formula that works, and let me take you back a few steps. We about 5 years before we started doing anything. It was actually around the trying to get the exact year now. I think it was about year 2000 or something, maybe a bit before. We set a goal. We being my wife, Carol, and myself, we set a goal to make $10,000 a month passive income. Now, the $10,000 a month, why we wanted $10,000 a month? Well, that basically represented how much money we had to earn to make, how much money we had to earn to become financially independent. So that $10,000 basically represented all our bills and everything that we needed to maintain a lifestyle in the way that we wanted to maintain a lifestyle. So if we had $10,000 coming in a check every month, all our needs would be met, and effectively we wouldn't have to work, and that was why we were setting that goal. So for 4.5 years, we set about developing passive income streams, and we effectively went through all these things like property and shares and forex trading and so on, and we couldn't get them to work for us. We couldn't make them passive. They would make us money, but for some reason they'd always turn into work for us. We'd either have to be up in the middle of the night trading, keeping in mind I live in Australia, so when the markets are going around the world, it's generally the middle of the night for us. Or if it was houses or something would happen and a tradesman would let me down and I'd have to be in there painting a wall or doing something like that. So at the end of the day, we found ourselves having to work all the time, and then we got really annoyed at it. And one of the philosophies that Darryl and myself have is that we take responsibility for everything that happens to us, even though we might not be obvious that it's might not be obvious to us that we're responsible. We just basically say if if something's happening to us in our life circumstance, we basically take responsibility. So we believe there must be something in our psyche that's attracting that. So we sat down with a friend of ours, a man called Paul Blackburn, and his wife Mary Blackburn, and they run a company in Australia called Beyond Success, and they taught us how to identify and eliminate subconscious blocks in our mind, and so we just sat down for about an afternoon, just having a cup of coffee, having a talk, and in that discussion, we were able to identify about 8 different belief systems that we had bought into, which were blocking us from making passive income. You see, John, up until that point, we could make money, no problem. We had a successful consulting business that we'd been running for about 15 years, and we're making money quite well in our consulting business. In fact, we're doing it too well, because what was happening is we were overworked and we're working 7 days a week, trying to keep up with the work, and we're a victim of our own success, and that was one of the other reasons that we decided that we needed to make passive income to give us that freedom. So we made this money, but we couldn't make it become passive, meaning not linked to our effort. Consequently, what happened was when we did this program with, this talk with Paul Blackburn, we identified that we had belief systems which were things like if I have to to get ahead, you have to work hard. If money comes easily, then I feel guilty. Those sorts of things going around in the head, or passive income opportunities are hard to find. That was a belief system of mine that I had. And if you have these things going around your head at a subconscious level, then that's fundamentally contradictory to making passive income. So what we found was we had to address our beliefs about making money and all the things that the parents taught us and all that sort of stuff in society taught us. Once we did that, once we made that change, and I'm talking, it was just a couple of little exercises that literally took us about half an hour to an hour to do. Once we made that change, within weeks of doing that, we had the opportunity of the e-books come up, and then we started making money pretty well within a couple of weeks after getting that happening as well. So, and money hasn't stopped since then. So 4.5 years into setting that 5-year goal, we had made no passive income whatsoever. We did this exercise, passive income started coming in, and 6 months later, virtually to the date that we'd set the goal, we retired. That was on the 5-year goal. So in the last 6 months, it all came in for us. I think the moral of the story here, John, is to set 6-month goals.
Yes. But the fascinating thing there is that I see old saying, an overnight success takes 10 years to achieve.
Well, it took me 4.5 years to come to the realisation that I had to let go of some of my thinking. That was basically it. It only took me, the strike at rich bit came in half an hour of making the decision, but I had to get to the point where, and I know,
story. Yeah.
And I know for a fact, when I talk around the world on this sort of net subject, and I just know for a fact people are saying all around the world there's lots of people who want the benefits, but there's not too many people who are prepared to let go of their beliefs and to make it happen.
Right. Can we move on? A question I'm often asked. Almost every niche that you can think of these days, niche for the Americans and Canadians, almost every niche or niche these days seems to be pretty crowded on the internet. You look at anything and there's lots of solutions being offered out there. So just how do you spot a great opportunity and develop it?
Well, we have a number of different ways, and I don't buy into the fact that it's just too crowded. There are, for sure, there are niches out there which are busy, have things going in it, but what you need to do is actually start to listen to what the marketplace are talking about and what they're looking for and what they're wanting. So a bit loud there. and what they're wanting. The thing that I've noticed is you really need to look for a twist or some sort of way of differentiating yourself from the crowd. Don't try and be another. Don't try and compete. Just stand out from the crowd. This is if you're listening and you're writing notes, this is something I'll get you to write this down. Actually, is to write down be outstanding, not excellent. Okay, and the difference between excellence and outstanding is excellence means that you're the top of the heap in competing against the other guys. You're the
Could
best.
you just repeat what you said, because it didn't come across very clearly?
Okay. There's two things that you need to understand, or two points of difference. There's people who want to be excellent in their field, and there's people who want to be outstanding in their field. What I suggest you be, or do, is work towards being outstanding, not excellent. The reason for that is if you are excellent, it basically means you're top of the heap, but you're still competing with the heap or the group of people. What I suggest you do is you design something or have a product which is outstanding, which means you stand out from the crowd. You don't compete with the crowd. So you've got to find a twist or do something a little bit different, or package up your ebook in a way which answers the questions that other people aren't answering, but the marketplace wants, or it answers those questions. Plus, it also adds extraordinary value that nobody else is doing in some way. So there's a number of things that you can do to make that happen as well.
And I know from what we've discussed and what you're offering in your products that you certainly deal in extraordinary value.
Well, that's right. One of our philosophies that I teach my students is to provide. I don't know if this translates over here in England, but if I said no-brainer, that makes sense to you?
Yes, yes, we use that.
Okay, no. So make your offers a no-brainer. So it means if you are interested in the topic and you're looking at my offer and you want the answer to that problem, to that offer, then the price of getting that the product is basically not an issue, because the value that you're getting is so overwhelmingly good that you shouldn't. There's no question in what you should be buying, that the people will be buying.
And I think you show us how to do that in your various amongst the 6 steps, aren't they?
Yeah, that's all placed in there and making your offer.
Right. Can I move on again? The other burning question that most people will have is, how do you build a customer list, and how do you keep it growing? So that may be a prospect list, it may be a customer list, but how do you keep it growing?
Okay. Couple of ways you can do this, and it's sort of up to you to see what works best for you. We use the system that we're talking about tonight is basically our entry level system into whatever it is that we might be selling. We have what we call an ascension model. So if you buy a ebook office, then go onto our database and then we introduce you to other products later on down the track, which becomes what we call back-end product. Now the reason...
We'd call that the funnel.
Sorry?
I think we'd call that the funnel.
Yeah,
so
or a funnel.
You feed people in the front end of the funnel, and you narrow that down by feeding them more and more products, back-end products.
Yeah, and the price generally goes up. So if somebody comes in for a $49 Australian product, they get in there and they get entry level to that. Then sorry. Sorry, I just got a lot of background noise there. I can have trouble hearing. Somebody comes in at a entry level with $49 a month product. Then you get them on board. You offer good value, and the first thing you do is you treat them right. You build a relationship. Providing product, good quality product, is not good enough. Build a list, and to keep your list, you must build a relationship. And I would even suggest to you, relationship with your list is more important than the product that you provide. not saying provide a bad product, but the relationship that you build with your list will do a couple of things. What it will do is it will increase your ongoing sales because if you provide a good relationship and you provide good value in what you're doing, your list becomes more responsive. The other thing that providing good relationship does is it positions you and your business over the long term as somebody who's a trusted advisor, and you become a welcome guest, not an unwanted pest. Which I don't know if you've been on too many lists on the internet, but some of the people, when you get on their list, they just I think they abuse the list, and they don't.
Yes.
They just try and sell you. Every time they contact you, they just try and sell something to you, sell something to you, sell something to you. And that's not how human beings interact. If you I've got somebody building a desk there or something, hammering. That's not how human beings interact. If you are working, sorry, let me start that again. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Human beings
building trust.
Yeah, human beings basically work on trust. We do business with people we like, effectively. All things being equal, we'll do business with people who we like. Now, when you're building a list, what we try and do is we say, give twice as much as you ask. So an easy example of that would be, if you're going to send out emails where you're giving some sort of good value, or you're giving a gift, or there's something of value to that list in their niche, twice as much as you actually send out an offer. Okay, so instead of sending out an offer on every email that you send out valuable information, or provide something which builds the list and provides something to the client twice as much at least than you're actually asking. I don't know, does that make sense, John, to you?
Yes, that's good advice. I tend to try and follow the 3-to-1 rule myself, but there's a lot of people out there, as you say, that just flood you with offers and offers and offers and no value.
Yeah, that's right. And we try and go out of our way to try and find extraordinary value for our clients. So you might sort of appreciate, I get to meet a lot of the world's sort of best internet marketers just through my what we do on stage, and I go and negotiate deals with them for my clients. I don't even get a cut a lot of the times. So I know that I can do deals with people, and the people I'm doing deals with are prepared to give me a kickback. But a lot of times I just hand that on to my client, and of course I know that they'll get a deal better than anywhere else. Then so if they're on somebody else's list, they'll be paying more. But my list, I'll be able to give them great value, and they know it. They know we look after them and we care about them and we want to see the best happen for them. And when we do have something that we really want to offer them and get them to buy, I'll generally jump. I won't question. I don't have to put the real hard work into the sales letters and all that sort of stuff, because the work's already done.
Can I take you back to your step-by-step process, your 6-step process? How did that evolve? Is that something which you followed from the start, or has that evolved as you've built it?
That was pretty much stepped out to us in that 20-minute talk that we had,
Right.
and we've sort of evolved the process within the steps, but the 6 steps are pretty much there. I probably called a few different names at the time and stuff like that, but primarily the 6 steps were there. The key part of that 6-step process is find out what the market wants first before you build the product. Most traditional business run out and they'll build a product first, and then they'll go out and try and sell it to the marketplace. That's a kiss of death on the internet. You need to find out what they want first.
So that's finding the hungry crowd.
Yep. Getting that hungry crowd, finding out what it is that they want.
And your second step, I think, is checking that market is viable.
Yeah. So you need to sort of work through and see if the market's basically, is it profitable? Is it a viable market? So you come up with a good idea, and you check out what people are looking for and what they're after. Then you've got to go and test it and see you know, they might be looking for it, but they might not actually want to buy it. So there's, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, when we first got started in this, he went and looked at the market for gourmet pizza recipes, so an ebook on gourmet pizza recipes, and all the numbers came in really well. That this was a good product, gourmet pizza recipes, and they had good feedback on the numbers. And so it wasn't until he actually skipped the step of testing and seeing if it was viable. He just went out and made the product and put it up there, and he couldn't sell it. And when he was analysing what was going on and what was wrong, he realised he didn't do his testing part to see if it was viable. And what he missed in the initial analysis is that although there were people out there wanting to buy, there was also a lot of competition, and virtually all the competition was free. So there was people giving away exactly what he was building, what he built, and trying to sell, giving away that information. And so he really couldn't sell that book. So he missed that step of actually testing and seeing if it was profitable.
So you very much need to check the market is profitable and viable for you.
That's correct.
Before you then go on to develop your product.
That's right, yeah. So once it's clear to you that you've got a good niche, and with the niche we want it to be what we call an inch wide and a mile deep, so very deep niche of fanatical, hungry people on their subject, and then working out what it is that they're desperate for, what information that they're really wanting to know, what are their biggest problems, headaches, fears, the things that keep them up at night. You've got that identified. You've then gone and tested whether or not they're going to actually spend money on it and to buy it. And you've got a clear understanding of how many clients you could get in, and you've done your figures. Then you go out, and if all the figures work out in your favour, then you go out and you develop the product. And you can do that a number of ways. I suppose there's two fundamental ways to do it. You either do it yourself or you get somebody else to do it. If you know a little bit about your subject or whatever it is that you're doing, or if you've got some information sitting around that you can use, then great. You can use that. We probably, I'd say about 80% of our ebooks are 80% of our ebooks are done by other people. And so there's been a couple that we've written that work quite well for us. But majority of them are...
So you outsource most of what you do?
Sorry, John, I didn't understand that.
You outsource most of what you do? Yeah,
you can outsource it. There's some places where you can get these things done for you. One is rentacoder.com. That's www.rentacoder.com. Now, this is a site where there are tens of thousands of people all around the world who do work for hire there, and they'll bid for your job, and it's a reverse auction, so they'll bid for your job. So you say, I want to get an ebook written about X, and you put that up on the Rent-A-Coder job board, and people will bid and say, one person might come in and say, hey, I can do that for $500. Another person might say, I'll do it for $450. Another person might come back and say, I'll do it for $400. And they bid for the job. And you can choose people off Rent-A-Coder to write the book for you. And they become what's called a ghost writer. The book under law is your book. They're what's called a servant for hire. And the book is your book. You're paying them to do that. You can put your name down as the author. You have total rights over it and all that type of thing. So it's pretty cool. And it can be extremely cheap to get things done on that.
Yeah, very easy to do as well. I was on, I use Elance myself. I was on Elance today and putting up a translation job actually.
Right.
But it's really very easy to do, and I would encourage people just to go and explore. That's www.elance, ELANCE.com, or rentacoder.com. Thank you for that, Andrew. Moving on, you talked earlier on about a number of mistakes and blind alleys you went down. What are the 3 biggest mistakes that you see people making, and how can they fix them?
Well, one I've mentioned already is they start with the product and not with the market. So must identify your market first, ask them what they want, work out the twist on it, and then ask them whether or not they'll pay it, and then build the product. So that's the first thing I see most people do. They come up with a good idea in their head and say, oh, I think this is the way to go, and they can even go through the process of checking the figures, but they kid themselves basically. There's no market there, and they kid themselves because it's their hobby horse. Now the other thing that people do, which is I think is a fundamental mistake, is they don't address their subconscious belief system. When we do our talk, we put up a triangle on the board, and if you're writing some notes down, you might just want to write a triangle in front of you. Three-sided triangle, equal sides on the triangle, and any triangle, if you take one of the sides away, the structure collapses. It doesn't have any integrity. And if you write on one side of the triangle mental, on the other side of the triangle write physical, on the third side of the triangle write emotional or subconscious. These are the three elements of the triangle that we say you have to have all three elements in place to be successful in anything that you do, but particularly when it comes to making passive income on the internet. And the system is basically the mental side of things. This is the how-to, the step-by-step process. So today we've been talking about this 6-step process that we have them doing. That 6-step process is quite easy to follow, and it's a simple process, and you can follow that. So that's the system. You have to get mentally, you have to learn the knowledge. The physical stuff, you're going to have to actually sit down in front of a computer, physically sit down, or get somebody to physically sit down on your behalf, and you might physically have to pay a little bit of money to buy a computer if you haven't got one, and there's some physical there is a physical commitment from our part. Now, as far as businesses go, it's very low physical, but there is something physically that you need to do. And most people get those 2 steps, John. They understand that you need to learn a system and you physically have to get out there and do something. That's not a big deal for most people because we're taught to do that in our life. Where most people fall down, though, and this is the second mistake they make, is they ignore the subconscious side of the triangle or the emotional side of the triangle, and so they don't address those issues that I talked about at the start of the process. The final thing that I think is they give up too easily. They give up too quickly, and they effectively want a magic pill, magic wand, and they'll give something a go, and they generally go in with a attitude, I'll try this and see if it works. I'll try this and see if it works, and they're half expecting it to fail because they've never been able to get something to work before. It works for everybody else, not them. So the attitude isn't right for a start. And when things start to not work the first time, or they can't work their way through a little bit of a problem, they say, oh, look, I'm too busy. I'm going to go back to something else. I can't get it to work. As opposed to having a dogged determination, I'm going to make this work no matter what, and I'm just going to keep going until I can get it done. So that'd be my 3 things.
Right. We turn that round. Have you got some meaty tips and tricks that you can give us, techniques? What are the 3 best techniques or tips you can share with us that perhaps most people are not aware of and will give an edge over the competition?
No, I don't know if I want to do that. Okay. You have a think there. Key tricks. Well, look, the first thing, once again, and I hate to be a bit boring with this, but it really is as simple as this. If you get out and you do the stuff I'm talking about, and are diligent with it, and follow the process right through, and you keep going, and when you hit a roadblock, you keep going through that, that will put you in the top 5% of anybody trying stuff on the internet. I'll tell you right now, because most 90% of people just don't follow through. They just follow through with what you start and get it done, get it finished. Okay, pick a simple process, just do it. Okay, and if you're writing your notes, once again, just say, just do it, do something. Okay, and I know that's not a real sort of blinding, tricky thing to do, but that will get you a long way. The other thing is to do is to prioritize your approach of what you're doing. Now, on the internet, it literally is like the gold rush days at the moment, and there's people going left, right, centre, trying to, giving you opportunities on how you can make money on the internet and so on. There are heaps and heaps of ways, and lots of them make money. There are some that don't, but a lot of the people out there who are talking are generally all pretty genuine people, and they make money. What you can do, though, and what I've seen a lot of people do, is they get overwhelmed with all the opportunity. Okay, so you've got to try and avoid the overwhelm. The way you do that is that you use a little trick, what we call we use the 80-20 principle, or Pareto's law. Now, Pareto was an economist, I think an Italian communist, get that right? Economist.
A communist or an economist?
Yeah. Sorry about that, I'm getting tongue-tied. He was an economist back in about 100 years ago, who discovered that most of the wealth, so 80% of the wealth was held by 20% of the population. Put that the other way around, that 20% of the wealth was only held by 80% of the population. And that's called the 80-20 rule. Now that principle, that 80-20 principle, happens all throughout life. And so you can apply it to virtually anything. You can look at your carpet on your floor, and 20% of your carpet gets walked on 80% of the time, and we wear certain clothes, 20% of our clothes we wear 80% of the time, and it goes on and on and on. Where this comes in to be really helpful for people who are working on the internet, you'll get heaps and heaps of opportunities that you can get. What you need to do is look at all those opportunities and be clear on what your goal is that you want to achieve, and then you need to go through and rate those opportunities based on what's going to get you closest to the goal that you want, and put them in order of what's going to give you the best impact, or the most impact of getting you closest to where you want to be, and what's going to be the easiest, and give them a rating. Then work out from what's the highest. Pick your top 20%. Start with the top one first and work down for your top 20%. They're the things that will get you 80% of your results first. Forget about the other stuff. Now, a lot of the other stuff might look very sexy and appealing, but if it's not getting you closer, if it's not going to get you closer to your goal faster than the others, then just drop it and don't get overwhelmed. We do that all the time. And just before I got on the plane to come over here, we sat down and we had, I think we counted about 24 major opportunities that we could do, and we just had to cut those out and only pick one or two that we needed to focus on, and we did that by working out which ones are the 20% that's going to get us 80% of the results.
Right. Well, those are two fairly high profile, but good management advice points, aren't they? Just do it. Keep going. Dogged determination and follow through. And the other is prioritize what you do. Well, so it's working smart, not hard, isn't it? That's right. Now, the other thing that you asked for free. The other thing that we do all the time is we hunt out other experts. Even though we're good at what we do ourselves and we mentor people, we go and get other mentors as well. And we're proactive in getting advice, and always sort of listening and getting feedback on what we're doing. The internet can be a little bit a business which you can be isolated in if you're not careful, and
So it's good to go and get mentors and so on. So we have 5 different mentors at the moment. We attend, get ideas, always trying to look at different bits of information and so on. So that's why your program is fantastic. People can come along, they can hear people are doing it and get just even one idea. One idea makes a difference. Get one idea and apply it. It can change your world. And,
Yeah.
and
I work on the basis that I can learn something from everybody I speak to. It's a question of finding out what it is that they know that I need.
That's great. That's a great attitude and yeah, fantastic. Well done.
And you can return that, of course. What have I got that they need?
Perfect. Yeah. Good.
Okay. 3 very good, hard-hitting but high-level principles there. Thank you for those. Can I talk about anything in the way of tools and website software, services, anything like that? Is there anything that you personally use and you can recommend for people trying to get results? I know you do quite a lot of, you give quite a lot of recommendations in the material that we're going to be giving people, I think.
Yeah, there's a number of different things. I don't know if I'll make sense of that with saying them out of context, though, John. So I'm kind of, I'll do my best to mention a few. I mean, we talked about Rent-A-Coder. That's a good one for outsourcing material, and that's a cool little piece of work. Give me a bit of a hint. What sort of things are you? What areas are you wanting to talk about?
Well, I think, as you say, it's probably taking it out. It could be taking it out of context. It's a bit more difficult. But I think some of the tools and where you would go for hosting, what kind of tools you'd use for research.
Okay, so hosting.
Those sort of things,
Okay, so researching keywords. The reason that you want to research keywords is that basically gives you a glimpse into the mind of the marketplace. It tells you what people are looking at, what they're looking for, and helps you structure your Google AdWords campaign, which is a way of advertising your product. One of the products that we use for that is keyworddiscovery.com. I think it's keyworddiscovery.com/search.html, I believe. I'm just going off memory there.
Don't worry if you can't hear what Andrew is saying, because you'll see that in the information I think he's going to be giving you.
Yeah, now that's a good product there, which allows you to. That's a good product which allows you to search for keywords and free. Now I'll give you that to you again. It's www.keywordiscovery.com/search.html. And it's on the page, the information page we're going to give you at the end of the talk.
That's great, and I think let's just leave it like that, because you are going to give quite a lot of information, I think, and people can pick up on that a bit later. So we just leave that for the time being. Now, just turning that one around again, if there's something that you could have that you don't have right now, some magic wand or tool, what would that be?
Yeah.
And you can leave Darryl out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I am a lonely boy, embarrassingly. Look, if I had a magic wand, I would make more. Time is my most precious asset, and that's what you'll find. I'm always prepared to spend money to shorten the process, because it saves me time. Although more time is probably my biggest thing. I can always make more money. Money's not an issue. I can't get my time back. And that's probably one thing I've really noticed about some of my richer friends that I have compared to some of my more financially embarrassed friends, I'd say, is that my richer friends really value their time more than my poorer friends, for example, and so they won't waste their time as much, or they will try and value their time. So if they need to buy something to shortcut a process or do something like that, then they'll do that. Where my poorer friends will actually try and do things themselves and take a long time, run down blind alleys, all that sort of stuff, and that's one of the things that I've really noticed that happens.
The time is the most precious commodity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So on that point, what advice and encouragement can you offer to somebody just starting out? Again, in addition to what you're about to give them, any other advice and encouragement?
Yeah, understand that you are exactly where everybody else who's ever been successful on the internet, made $1 million or done anything, has been. Everybody started at some point in time. Okay, so nobody was born with this font of knowledge in their head about how to be successful in this game. So everybody started where you are. Understand it's still a very new industry, extremely new, and so there's don't be concerned about people. Don't be concerned about thinking, oh, yeah, all the opportunities are gone. I've missed the boat here. I believe that internet at the moment probably about if you're using the analogy of aeroplanes, it's probably around from where the Wright brothers started to where we are with biplanes. We're probably in the biplane era at the moment.
Wow.
And so there's just huge advancements coming, and it literally will, or it has already, but it's literally going to change the face of the planet. It will change how we interact as countries, communities, and how we do commerce, and that's really happening right now. It's only going to get more and more and more. So you need to get involved in it.
So get on the bandwagon now.
That's right.
So well, that's pretty encouraging.
Well, yeah, it's a very, very exciting time to be alive. Well, think about it, John. I mean, mate, I can sit down on the other side of the planet. Where I live is probably about as far away as I can get from Paris. I can sit down there and I can do business with everybody pretty well on every continent of the world, and I can prove that because we've got clients virtually in every continent of the world, and even Antarctica, we had a client who bought one of our products from down there. So, I mean that's just an amazing thing, and I can do that while I'm sitting at the beach, not thinking about what's going on because it all happens automatically, and I can do that as a little person. I'm just we're just a I can sit there and do it by myself if I want to. I don't have to have staff, and that's a fundamental change in the way that we do commerce these days. And think back just even 30 years ago, that was just impossible to do that. So it's incredible.
So if you just spent 1 key hour a month on your business, what would that be?
1 key hour.
What would you not sacrifice?
1 key hour. Wow, that's a good question. I would identify what I know is working, just fundamentally working really, really well, and just keep duplicating that. Just get what I know works well, and just keep duplicating it. Don't try and be fancy. Just duplicate what works.
So underlying that, there's the principle of testing and monitoring everything that's going on.
Well, yes, yeah. I have to. If I've got 1 hour, I'm assuming that I've identified, tested, monitored what's working, so that's how it goes. Be identifying a market. That's what I know. Identify a market and give them what they want.
Andrew, kept you talking for a long time. Your batteries held out through that time. I'm sure you're raring to go out and see a bit of Paris at night.
Correct.
Thanks very much for everything you shared with us today. What I'd like to do now is just give the link that you've very kindly allowed us to share. And what people will find on that is the 6-step approach with a whole lot of very generously given links and tools, tips, and so forth. So it's a very full exposition of the 6 steps. And I think you're making that available to us through a link on our website, which is www.thewebbiznetwork.com, and that's spelled THEWEBBIZ or Z network.com / Andrew and Daryl .html, and that's spelled ANDREW ANDDARYL.html. But don't worry if you can't get that down. It'll be on our blog site. You'll get the reference on there. If you go to the blog site now, in fact, you'll find I've posted an article with that link in it. Andrew, we did promise a question and answer session. Do you have time for a little bit more?
I am happy to hang on. I was waiting for it, but you were
okay.
I'll stay here as long as you want me to.
What I will do is unmute everybody and ask for questions. So, could we have any questions for Andrew?
Hello, darling.
Right. Could you tell us who you are and what your question is?
I'm to sleep.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, do we have a question, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, yes. My name's Kristen. I've launched a website for downloads for pregnancy and birth with 2 colleagues, but we're finding it hard to get it optimized and so on, although we've been looking at optimization and so on. Do you have any tips on how best to optimize a site or what areas to focus on and how to get it up in the ratings and get it known when we're starting from scratch?
Okay, so you're wanting to drive traffic through optimization. Is that correct? Am I hearing that right?
So whatever was the best way, we want to, as I say, it's very niche. They're downloads of recordings to make pregnancy and birth easier.
Right.
We want to get traffic to the site to then obviously be downloading our recordings. And we're finding it's quite hard to actually get the traffic to come in to be, sort of going up in the ratings on Google and so on.
Sure. First thing I'd suggest you do is, let me ask you a question. Is it for anybody who's pregnant?
Yep, absolutely anybody. Couples, range of different recordings for different areas of pregnancy, so everything from morning sickness, breech babies, making the birth easier right through to bonding and breastfeeding at the end. Okay. So lots of different areas. So yeah, anybody at all who's pregnant.
Okay. What I suggest to you is that your niche is too wide for a start. What I would do is break that up into a number of different products.
Okay.
And look at having specialised niches. The reason that you do this is because people, when they're in that sort of situation, they'll type in the issue that they're having. Now, right. the other reason why that's good for you is because it makes it easier for you to optimise for the niche as well.
Okay.
If you're just trying to get pregnancy or giving birth is a huge market, and there's tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people looking for that on a regular basis. So you need to sort of break your product down into smaller, tighter niches. You might get a couple of products out of that.
So each of the recordings almost with its own website pretty well. Or would you say just per page? Because what we were looking also is at optimizing the different pages as separate areas.
Yeah, if you're going to optimize, and I'll say right from the start, I'm not really a big fan of search engine optimization, although we do it, we know how to do it. If you type in our names, Andrew and Daryl, you'll see that we're sort of all over the top 5 pages for us. So we have done it, but I don't think it's the best method for driving traffic.
Okay. So
to answer your question.
So how would you drive it then if you're not doing the optimization route?
Well, let me answer your other question first, and I'll.
Yeah.
Okay, to answer your question, make a tighter niche. You don't necessarily need to rewrite your whole book or rewrite your whole product, but you just you can rebadge it a little bit maybe if you want to go to that point, or even just send people to the book, but the marketing that you do should be niche, not broad. The broader your market, the broader your marketing, the harder it is to drive traffic, the more expensive it is, and the harder you'll find to optimize.
Okay, so actually to focus, for example, just on visualising a better birth or just on breech babies?
I'd go something like breech babies, breech birth, because people type in breech birth. Go to use that tool that I talked about before, keyword discovery, and see how many people are looking for breech birth, see if you've got the numbers. So go look at the words around, the keywords around your topics, and then see which ones. Use the 80-20 rule. See which ones are giving 20% of the traffic, which 20% of keywords are getting 80% of the traffic, and then use that to drive it from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, the best way to drive traffic, I believe, for that type of product. Let me just be clear: it's an actual product they buy and they spend money and they get an answer.
Yeah, they buy a recording to download, which they can then burn onto CD or put onto their iPod or whatever. Okay, great.
I would look at using Google AdWords to start with.
Yeah.
The reason that you can do this, the reason why that's a good idea is that you can start getting direct traffic to your site, and with that direct traffic, you can you can then start to see if your site's converting for a start.
Okay.
The problem with optimization is that it can take a lot of work if you don't know what you're doing. Even if you know what you're doing, it still takes a fair bit of work to get things going.
Yeah.
But the problem is what Google wants to see, what they consider as a good site, which is worth putting at the top of the Google page, not always conducive with what sells.
Yeah.
So if you go into a one-page sales letter, which is one of the things that we recommend, Google don't like those. So you have to do a whole bunch of things, other things to get them optimized and so on. Now, if you, what we do suggest you do though, is start using, if you want to optimize, and that's the way you want to go, what we do is we do feeder pages, which they optimize best. So if you type in Andrew and Darryl, what you see is main things that come up will be videos and blogs about us. Videos and blogs optimize really easily and really well.
Okay.
But what we do is we use those to feed people back into our site. Okay, so we use those to drive people to our site.
Right.
So if you want the quickest and easiest way for you to optimize, I believe, is to do blogs about your subject, or do videos around your subject. You can get things which I think a tool called Jason might be able to help me out here. It's a traffic geyser, Jason.
Yes, that's one of the.
Yeah, sends out your video out to heaps of different places. And
so what's that called?
Traffic geyser to us.
Geezer.
Right.
I thought Geezer was an old guy over here. So.
That's with a double EZ.
So how do you spell that?
That's traffic, as in traffic.
Yep.
Geyser.
Geys. Oh, like a geyser. Okay. Yep.
Like a geyser.
Yep. And what does that do?
Just Google it, look it up. But it basically gives you. You can get your video, do a couple of videos, like just short little 5-minute videos which promote your site. Give it a little bit of information, promote your site. But what it will do is it will send it out to all the different platforms that do videos. Things
okay. So you're not having to look for the different platforms yourself. Okay.
Well, you load it in, but it sends out to things like YouTube and Google Video and all that sort of stuff.
Right, instead of looking for ourselves. Brilliant. Thank you.
Does that help?
Okay. Thanks very much, Kristen.
And would you say then, otherwise, you're using the feeder pages are more productive than spending the money on optimization companies and so on?
I've never spent a cent on an optimization company.
You haven't? Okay, it's interesting.
I can't tell you that, but what I would suggest is that you will get your best results if you get a decent page that's converting with AdWords. The next step I would take after that is doing joint ventures. Finding people ask yourself who has your list of people before you do, and start setting up a joint venture with them for them to join to send people to your products.
Sorry, just by linking to websites, basically.
Yeah.
So you say when you find out what other people have as a list, you said, or what was it? I missed the...
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
who has my client before me?
Oh, who has your client before you? Yeah, okay, the client.
Who has my client before me?
Yeah.
Who has
Yeah.
a list of people that would be interested in my product? Once
Yeah,
you've
great.
identified that person in your mind, then approach them about doing a
Yeah.
joint venture or an affiliate program.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, so there's ways of doing it. Okay,
Fantastic.
does that help you?
Really helpful. Thank you ever so much. It's been
All
a
right.
really interesting hour. So I unfortunately missed the Tuesday session unexpectedly. I was hoping to come along, but I'm hoping you might come back sometime to the UK.
Okay, well, we'll see what we can do.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Kristen. Are you all right to go on for a little longer, Andrew?
Yeah, mate, I'm here as long as you need me.
Yeah, Andrew.
Okay, it's great. Anybody else? Question?
Yes, I've got a question.
Who's calling?
Yeah, Peter.
Peter, hi.
Hello. I was there the last time and I saw Andrew in person, listened to him a lot. I dozed off a bit because I worked very hard during the day and I managed to get it. But my main thing is, basically, I am a technophobe. I know nothing about computers and all this stuff. But what I've got is a knack for ideas that literally go buzzing looking for money. Just the advice you gave this lady about in the optimization thing, I am absolutely... I know nothing about all this Google stuff, but I knew straight away that I wouldn't use that to get attention on the internet. Yeah, so it's like something I've got within me. As soon as I go on the web, I just happen to sort of attract very profitable areas over there. Now, what I need is someone who is skilled at the technical side of things to put together my ideas so I can start making some money on the net there. I wonder whether there are experts there who will be paid, who are prepared to be paid to put together my ideas to get...
You can outsource those things. Andrew, can you give us some advice?
So,
literally, I've been on the internet for just about 3 weeks now, but the amount of wealth I've come into is incredible. The products I've been able to access.
So, Peter, you're breaking up a little bit there, so just repeat back the question, see if I understood it correctly. Are you asking where you can find a technical person to help you out with your ideas?
Yeah, let me tell you how bad I am. I can't even copy and paste something, a URL or something to my web browser. That's how bad I am. Yet, I've got...
You're going to have a trouble putting down your specification for somebody else to follow then.
No. If I'm able to get somebody to talk to and pay them and direct them.
Okay, so here's how I'd do it if I was you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? First thing I would do is I would actually invest a day or two bringing up your knowledge, find somebody who knows what they're doing, just ask them to sit with them for a day or two, and just bring up your knowledge to a basic level, okay? So if you're as bad as you're saying, if you literally can't copy and paste, then you need just to bring up your knowledge just a little bit, okay? So you don't need to be an expert by any means, but you need to get out from totally knowing nothing to being a novice, okay? Once you get to that point, then you can converse with somebody and you can manage somebody
direct them
to a point, because if you're totally a novice and you don't know anything and you can't copy and paste, you can't turn on the computer, then...
No, I can type all right, but those little aspects of copy and paste, URL and all those stuff, I know my way around the web a bit, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not an expert.
Okay, so once you get to a point where you can do a little bit of stuff, then you start to identify and look for somebody. Now, the way we first started is I actually located a student who was doing an e-commerce degree, and he was working in sushi, getting paid $10 an hour at the sushi bar, and I said to him, would you like to do what you're studying for me for the same price? And he said, yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I paid him $10 an hour, and he came and did about 4 hours of work a week for me. It was $40 Australian, which is about 20 quid. Okay. Now, somebody who knows what they're doing can do a lot in 4 hours. So,
Andrew, I think you don't need to say anymore. I have just got it. Listen, thank you very much. I'm just going to get someone pay them, someone who's not a danger to my ideas, who will run off with my ideas, basically, pay them and get them to get a thing done. While they are happy, I'll be happy as well, literally. I think you've answered my answer.
Great.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. The only thing I wanted to know is you talking about someone. Is there any website where I can get people like that?
I don't know if it's a student website, but what I do is go to your
go to a university or something like that and find
go to like a university.
Okay. Yeah.
Go to the e-commerce.
Yeah.
Go to the e-commerce department. Ask them if they have a notice board.
Absolutely.
Put up, say, wanted student for part-time work, $10 an hour, whatever the going rate is.
Listen, this little advice is worth more than thousands a month to me. Now, thank you very much.
Yeah. No worries.
God bless.
Well done.
Can I just ask a question? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Could you give us your name, please, and your question?
Oh, no, I'm done now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes.
Anyone hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I've just been on the website to find the webbiznetwork.com, and it doesn't seem to come up.
Okay, if you go to the...
Andrew and Darrell, I think.
If you go to thewebbbiznetwork.com...
Yeah,
/ Andrew and Darrell .html.
I've done that, and nothing comes up.
Okay, I'll just check while we're talking. Anybody else got a question for Andrew?
Yeah, John, my name is Liam.
Hello, Liam.
Hello. I was there on Tuesday and appreciated Andrew's talk, so thank you for that. My question, you mentioned split testing your sales letter, and you mentioned some software that allows you to rotate different aspects of the sales letter. What are those options? What are those software options, and which one would you recommend, Andrew?
Just can't remember the exact one we use off the top of my head. Basically, for those people who are listening, what it is when you write a sales letter, you need to check. Generally, when people write a sales letter, first off, it quite often doesn't convert or it's not profitable. So you need to start tweaking it to make it work better. So the thing with when you're split testing is you need to do one thing at a time. So so you might want to try a new headline, for example, and so. But how do you know which one works, but which one's the best one? Generally speaking, you don't. You have to test it and ask the market. So you might have a headline which is option 1 or option A and another one which is option B. You can load it into a bit of A/B split testing software which will rotate those things through. If you go into Google and just do split testing software, there should be a bunch of options. I'm just trying to remember. Just let me check on my. Just check here. I can see if I can quickly find it. My techie normally does this for me, and that's why I'm just not familiar with the exact name. I do know, but.
Can you just repeat what you're testing? The what testing software?
It's called A/B split testing software.
Split testing. Okay, thank you.
Was that A/B?
Yeah, A/B split testing software. It just means it gives you an A or a B option. That you're split testing. Look, I'm sorry, I just don't know the name of the one that we use.
Hello.
I'll try and.
You're right.
I'll try and get that back to you guys and maybe.
No, maybe I haven't brought it to Google website up. It just came like this.
Hello.
Okay, Andrew, I got that. Thank you.
Speaking with Andrew, could you press 3 to mute your microphones, please? And press 3 again to unmute when you want to ask a question.
Can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Question is what numbers on keyword discovery would you need to achieve in order to pursue that particular niche?
We like to get over 30,000, between 30 to 60,000.
Is that across all of the keywords collectively for that particular niche, or
the top 20% of keywords? Yeah.
The top 20, about was that 30,000 you said?
Yeah, about 30 to 60, between 30 to 60.
Right. Okay.
It's not a if you can go a little bit less and a little bit more, but it's not like to try and keep within that tightness. If it gets too much more, I mean, you'll find keywords where you get people, there's 1 million hits on it a month, and you go, wow, that's a great niche. There's heaps of people looking for it. Generally speaking, when it's that broad, when it's that many people, it's too broad. and so you try and find a niche within the niche. So if you do something like cancer, for example, you'll find there's lots of people typing in the word cancer, but if you look, what you want to do is break it down into something a bit more manageable, like skin cancer or colon cancer or something that's a bit more niched.
Right, okay. And just one other thing. When you've got a relationship with your list, I mean, whilst you're building a relationship with your list on a product that you don't know a great deal about, how do you keep that relationship going?
Can you repeat the question, sorry?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that when you've got once you've built your list for a particular niche, on a niche that you don't know a great deal about yourself, how do you keep offering that list valuable information to keep them happy, as it were?
Well, you outsource that if you want to, or you look around for other products and so on. You look for other people who might have products which would complement your list. You never recommend anything or promote anything to your clients without testing it out first and looking at and talking to them first of all. So, for example, what we're doing right now, this is John and Jason have got together and they're trying to add value to you guys by getting me on tonight. So, I'm happy to volunteer my time. I've talked to them. They've checked me out. They've looked at my stuff, and they wouldn't recommend me unless they thought that it was worthwhile doing. But they're not actually providing the advice tonight. It's me talking. So that's an example of it.
Okay. And last thing, what would you say was the best way to identify a niche market?
Well, if you go to that page that we're talking about, it's really laid out there step by step how to go about that and do that. It's comprehensive. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check out that page. Thanks very much for that.
No problem.
Sorry, what was your name, the last questioner?
It was Wesley.
Wesley, okay. Thanks very much, Wesley.
No problem at all.
I've just been checking the link. It's working for me. I'll just read it out again, spell it out again. It's www.theweb.network.com/Andrew and Daryl, DARYL.html. So that's ANDREWANDDARYL.html. But don't worry, we'll be sending you out an email with the link in it, so you'll be able to pick it up later on. Thank you very much for that. Andrew, brilliant evening. Thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you very soon.
Okay.
Please thank Daryl for letting you be with us.
Okay, I will do that. Thanks very much. Appreciate you having me.
Okay, best wishes for next weekend and your trip back to Australia.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks very much. Goodbye for now, and goodbye for everybody else. Thank you.